Okay. Everybody speaks English here?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to ask the questions to the monks. And you can't always have the same monk answering. You have to take turns. Okay? And you can help each other to answer if you want. But it's not a test. It's just that I am very ignorant and I want to learn. Okay? So, can somebody tell me what are the 4 immeasurables? That exists, right? Yes or no? Okay, so what is it? Do you have a microphone?
Yeah, love, compassion, equanimity. Equanimity.
Sorry?
Equanimity.
Can I have a paper and pen?
Equanimity, love, compassion. Equanimity, love, compassion.
Wait, I have to take notes. This one. So, which is the first one?
Immeasurable equanimity.
Sorry, what?
Immeasurable equanimity.
Immeasurable. What? Equanimity.
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 And then?
Love.
Huh?
Love.
Love.
Love. Amor.
Love?
Amor.
It's written in the text, it's written love?
Immeasurable love.
Immeasurable love.
Yeah.
Wow. And then?
Immeasurable compassion.
Compassion. Wow.
And immeasurable joy.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. So what does that represent? What is that? Immeasurable.
Equanimity.
So it's just immeasurable. So you can't measure it.
You cannot measure it.
And what is it? Is it the value of the human being, or is it what is that?
You see each sentient being equally. Like you don't.
So that's something you want to train.
Yeah.
It's a meditation.
Yeah.
It's a practice.
Yeah.
Okay. So the 4 immeasurables is a meditation. It's a practice, or what is it?
It's a practice.
Lifestyle.
Well, how to think, how to view sentient beings around you, whoever you meet.
So it's a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle.
Habit.
Habit.
Okay.
The way to look at people and beings. Way to
Very
think.
Very nice. Thank you. Okay. Can somebody tell me which are the 5 Dhyani Buddhas?
Akshobhya, Amitabha,
Huh?
Akshobhya,
Amitabha? Amitabha? Sorry?
Vairoshana, Vairoshana,
Vairoshana.
Vairoshana,
Vairoshana.
Amoghasiddhi, Amoghasiddhi,
Amoghasiddhi.
Amoghasiddhi,
Amoghasiddhi.
Siddhi,
D.
Siddhi, Siddhi, como Siddhi. Y Amitabha,
Amitabha. No, Amitabha ya está. Ratna Sambhava. So what is Ratna Sambhava? What is the Buddha of Ratna Sambhava for? Ratna Sambhava.
a ver, intenta.
Isn't it for pride?
Yes,
Stinginess.
Stinginess also.
stinginess.
There's one left. Amitabha, Vairoshana, Amoghasiddhi, Ratna Sambhava, and
Akshobhya,
Akshobhya.
Akshobhya. The
So Ratna Sambhava is for pride. What is Amitabha for? Attachment? Attachment?
desire.
Vairashana?
Vairashana, you asked already. Vairashana is second, right?
Also
Ignorance.
ignorance. Amoghasiddhi?
Right.
No, that's Ranasambhava. Jealousy. And Akshobhya?
Anger.
Anger. Okay. So you practice all of them to diminish negative attitudes,
Yes. To purify.
to purify. Okay. So can you repeat again? Amitabha?
Tala, Akshobhya,
What is Amitabha for?
the desire. Attachment.
Attached.
Attachment.
Attached. And then we have Vairashana, which is for ignorance. Amoghasiddhi,
Against the
jealousy. And then Ranasambhava, pride, we said. And Akshobhya for anger. Wow, very nice. So good. Is everybody happy about this? Yeah. Okay. And I would like you, somebody, a volunteer, anyone, can someone explain to me what Ngejong means? Renunciation. From what?
Renunciation normally in Buddhist perspective is all pervasive suffering. All pervasive suffering.
Renunciation from all pervasive suffering. All pervasive. All pervasive. What does pervasive mean?
Means having to take the contaminant aggregates again and again
Okay.
without control due to karma and affliction.
So how would you define suffering?
So in this aspect, will be that suffering would be this particular suffering.
In general?
The result of a non-virtuous
Result of
action.
non-virtue. Experience of non-virtue.
Experience of non-virtue.
Yeah, the result of experience of the result of a non-virtuous action.
But people who don't know that it's non-virtuous don't like suffering. Even though they don't know it's non-virtuous. So why do they reject suffering? Without knowing it's non-virtuous. But they keep doing non-virtuous actions anyways. So it's contradictory. It's not a good definition. How would you explain to somebody what suffering is? Somebody who doesn't know about Dharma, for example, without using Dharma words. What is suffering?
Mental and physical unpleasant feeling.
Okay,
Yeah, pain.
that makes more sense. Alright, so Changsem. It's more easy.
Jamsim.
Jesus?
You want microphone?
You're the living example. No, he doesn't have to say anything. He already is showing it.
Okay.
And what is Yangta Bitawa? Pure view. What does that mean? Huh? What does pure view mean?
To see things as they are.
No, but the monks have to answer. Or the nuns, please. I want to see your point of view. It will be really very refreshing. So what is a pure point of view? You said, right? So what does that mean? The word sounds very easy, but what does it mean?
Without exaggeration
Without exaggerating what?
of reality. Without
Oui, c'est peur. Yanda Petawa.
Yeah.
Yanda
Yanta
Petawa is
Yanta Betawa. Pure, what's it? Did you say pure view? Right?
pure is without exaggeration.
Without exaggeration.
Reality as it is. Without,
So what does that mean? How-
without superimposing anything.
What does that mean? I don't understand. Without imposing.
exaggerating something which is not there.
So when I'm seeing things, I'm exaggerating them. When I look at the wall, I'm exaggerating the wall.
You are exaggerating. I don't know you, but
No, I mean in general.
in general.
When we look at something,
Yeah.
we exaggerate.
We exaggerate some concrete existence, independent existence.
We exaggerate the concrete existence.
Existence or ultimate existence. I think His Holiness says sometimes something like superimposing. Yeah. His Holiness, I think in a book, His Holiness says like everything looks
Imposing our own.
superimposing means.
So we're like imposing our own interpretation on
Yes.
things. That's what you mean, right?
Yes. I think His Holiness, everything looks so ultimate or absolute.
So those three things, the three together, what are they for? What does that mean? What is this? What's that? How do you translate in the Buddhist terminology?
Well, we say the three principal aspects of the path.
So the three principal aspects of the path. So those are the main aspects for what? For enlightenment. So if you do that, you will get enlightened. I like that answer. Very good. Okay.
That's
See,
what
that's
they
what-
say. That's what they say.
Okay. Okay. So, and then I'd like to know what is Sogalam, Jolam, Tonglam, Gomlam, Minolam? How would you translate that to English? Yeah, please. Microphone. Five paths. Okay, so the five paths. So what are the five paths?
Camino de la acumulación.
Camino de la acumulación.
Camino de la preparación.
Okay, wait. The accumulation.
Camino de la preparación.
Preparation.
Camino de la visión.
Vision.
Of seeing. Path of seeing.
Camino de la
Path of seeing.
Camino de la
Seeing.
meditación.
In English we say
Or seeing.
seeing.
So vision.
Vision.
Okay. Visión.
Después del camino de la meditación
Meditación.
y después el camino de no más aprendizaje.
No more learning.
Y ese es Milolam, ¿no? El último, Milolam. No más aprendizaje.
No más aprendizaje. Camino de...
Y una vez que ya has llegado a no más aprendizaje, ya lo sabes todo.
El camino de no más aprendizaje, donde se supone que se ha llegado ahí y no hay más que aprender.
O sea, ya te has iluminado.
Al final de ese camino.
Al final del Vale. Okay. Can somebody give me a definition of samsara, please?
Sí.
Te ha gustado, ¿eh?
Yo una vez, una definición de samsara que creo que es muy samsara es la mente vuelta hacia afuera, involucrada en sus propias proyecciones.
Ah, me gusta. Espera. La mente.
Vuelta hacia afuera,
Vuelta. Fuera.
involucrada en sus propias proyecciones.
You can just translate in English. Yes, yeah? So far.
So I just said the mind looking outside,
Involucrada.
Involucrada.
Involved.
but involved
In
in
its
some
own
projections.
In its own
Its own
projections.
projections.
Eso
Projections.
es
The
samsara.
mind that's looking outside and involved in its own projections.
Nirvana es la mente vuelta hacia adentro, reconociendo su propia naturaleza.
He says nirvana is mind looking inside, realizing or knowing its own nature, its
Reconociendo.
own very nature.
Reconociendo su propia naturaleza.
Well, he said that he once heard that, those definitions.
Well, does everybody agree with that as a definition to samsara? Please.
It would be involuntarily taking
What?
on involuntarily
Involuntarily.
taking on aggregates, rebirth after rebirth, the power of karma.
Involuntary.
Involuntarily
Involuntarily.
taking on aggregates,
Taking on
suffering aggregates.
aggregates. You mean by imprints? You know imprints, right? Aggregates. You mean imprints?
No, physical.
Oh, for
Form aggregates.
aggregates. Involuntarily
And
taking on
rebirth.
aggregates.
Rebirth after rebirth,
Rebirth.
due to contaminated karma and afflictions.
And due to karma,
Contaminated karma,
Contaminated karma
contaminated.
karma and
and
afflictions.
Afflictions. Wow. Very different, huh? Very different. It's very interesting. I like it. Both are really, insightful and very deep, so and very complex. Thank you so much. Gracias. Okay, the most difficult one. What is love? How would you explain love in a short definition, or how would you explain love in a short kind of sentence?
Wishing that others are happy.
Wishing that others are happy. Very beautiful. Very beautiful. Others to be happy. What else?
Not seeing faults in others and regretting your own faults.
Not seeing faults in others.
Regretting your own faults. Not seeing faults on others and regretting your own faults.
Others? Not seeing faults in others?
Regret your own faults.
And?
To regret your own.
Maybe observe. Regret is stronger.
Observe your own faults.
Or recognize. Okay. One more definition for love. One more.
To know everything about to know everything about a person and still loving her.
You mean non-judging?
Yeah.
Non-judgment. Non-judgment. Okay. All right. So, this is a very tricky question now. Huh? How do you help someone who has no interest in Dharma? How do you help someone who has an aversion to Dharma? Well, same. Similar.
Like a free connection, you give him, you just be present and exchange, and you offer him something and he give you a little something in return, and you establish a connection, and then that's enough.
I wish it was that easy. Any more suggestions? Please. En français si tu veux.
Ouais. Non. Je pense que parler de la souffrance tout simplement.
De parler de la souffrance, ça c'est quelque chose que tout le monde peut comprendre.
Parce que quelqu'un qui n'est pas attiré vers le Dharma, on va lui dire qu'il y a un moyen de se libérer de la souffrance.
Parce que tout le monde y comprend. So he says to talk about suffering, because everybody identifies with that. They can understand, they relate to that. So how to escape suffering? Yeah, please.
En parlant de sa propre expérience, de ce qu'on est devenu avec la pratique du Bouddha.
Comment j'ai pas compris ça?
Eh bien, j'explique de quelle manière, moi personnellement, j'ai changé. Et comme je vis bien mieux maintenant que je pratique le bouddhisme.
Ça, c'est spécial. Qu'est-ce que tu fais avant d'être nun?
Comment?
Qu'est-ce que tu fais avant d'être nun?
J'étais fonctionnaire.
Dans...
Et mère de famille.
La mère de?
Mère de famille, j'avais des enfants. J'ai eu des
Combien
enfants?
d'enfants?
2.
C'était difficile?
Comment?
C'était difficile?
Oui, c'était difficile. Oui.
Maintenant, c'est plus facile?
Oui. En fait, mes enfants ont 9 ans de différence. Et l'aîné a dit à sa petite sœur qu'il n'avait pas eu la même maman parce que j'ai découvert. Oui, j'ai changé.
C'est spécial. Okay, more strategies, please.
I think first you can also listen to them.
Ah. Anybody read the book called Momo by Michael End? One person, okay. So you can relate to that. Yeah, I think that's a very good book actually. It's a little bit, it's kind of Dharma, right? A little bit. Momo, not the eating Momo. So you can listen to them. Listen to their problems. Be a therapist. And we are all therapists anyway, actually. I think that's part of our jobs. Beginning with ourselves, we are therapists. To ourselves. Would you agree or would you disagree? Agree?
Yes.
Okay. So, more suggestions? One more strategy?
I think there's 4 ways to gather disciples. It's okay. The four ways to gather disciples, which is you receive them, like listening to them,
yeah.
Do anything what they say, you accept their views, their difference, their contradictions, you agree, whatever, you know, they feel like being accepted by acceptation.
Acceptance.
Then your gesture, the way you behave is very soft.
But what if they are very conflictive and they are very disrespectful? Then would you still accept them?
Yeah. Anything, just accept. No conflict.
So if they're shouting?
Yep. You let them behave whatever they wish for.
How long?
And
I mean, you have to be realistic.
Until they look at you. At the moment.
Until they see that.
They see
the example. Okay. And then?
Then your attitude, your word, your speech is soft. You speak nicely to them. Nice words. And you agree with them. You show them you agree. And then with that agreement, they start believing in you, they have trust, and then you can give them Dharma.
So you're saying the best way to create interest in Dharma is by being the example.
Being the example, yes.
Instead of talking blah 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 blah, actually being the example. It's very powerful. Because actions speak so much more than words. And we all know that. Okay. How to control anger. Is there anybody, any angry monk?
No.
Sometimes.
No.
Goes.
Okay, please.
Sometimes just count to 5.
Count to 5. Oh wow, okay, great. I like this.
Maybe to 20.
See, like one. Chantal, what do you want to say?
I say I'm angry. I'm an angry person. I have anger.
I think you're hungry. Hungry for Dharma. No, you're hungry for Dharma. You're not angry.
I just want to say I'm not an angry monk, but I'm an angry nun.
No, I disagree.
Okay, thank you.
You don't look angry. When I was a kid, when I was young, I used to be a little bit scared of you. Actually, to tell the truth. But now, no, I don't feel, I feel very. When I was young?
Why you were scared?
I don't know. I felt maybe. I kept my distance. No, I'm just joking. No. So no, I think really, I don't believe you're sorry. But it's nice for you to say. Thank you for being so sincere and open. I'm very humbled. So, any other how to control anger? Any more suggestions?
J'aime bien ce que dit Thich Nhat Hanh et j'essaye de me rappeler ce qu'il dit quand il dit qu'il faut prendre soin de sa colère pour l'analyser et enfin ça c'est moi qui le rappelle. Je comprends ce que dit Thich Nhat Hanh et j'aime bien ce qu'il dit quand il dit qu'il faut prendre soin de sa colère, c'est-à-dire qu'il faut vraiment regarder d'où elle vient et comment on peut par la suite ne pas tomber dans ce cycle de colère constamment. Et bon, par expérience, je vois que la colère, elle vient de mes pensées, de mon ego, et en plus, elle n'existe pas vraiment. Elle existe parce que je lui donne l'importance.
Les colères, ça n'existe pas.
Non.
Mais les résultats de la colère, ça existe. Ça existe très fort.
Oui. Oui.
Alors,
mais pour moi personnellement, si je reste dans cette idée de colère, je l'entretiens. Alors que si je regarde comment elle existe, je vais m'apercevoir que c'est moi qui l'entretiens et qu'elle n'existe que parce que moi je lui apporte de l'importance.
D'accord, c'est nous qui les croyons.
Oui.
Qui les créons.
Oui.
D'accord. Mais le résultat, c'est là, hein, c'est fort.
Le résultat, c'est que la colère, elle devient de moins en moins importante et on s'aperçoit quand on prend une colère, quand on commence à être en colère, et on peut très rapidement le stopper à force de l'observer, de voir comment elle fonctionne et comment elle se développe et comment on peut aussi la couper.
Merci beaucoup. Ah. Oh, translation, please. Who's trying? Volunteer? Alors tu écoutes pas beaucoup les Français, tu veux que quelqu'un t'explique encore.
I very much like the advice of Thich Nhat Hanh, who says you should observe, watch your anger.
Voilà, et donc j'observe comment elle fonctionne.
And I observe how it functions.
Et qu'elle vient essentiellement de mon esprit.
And it comes from my mind.
Et qu'il ne faut pas l'entretenir.
And one shouldn't keep it.
Voilà. Et donc au fur et à mesure, je m'aperçois plus rapidement quand la colère elle monte.
So I'm gradually noticing more quickly when the anger starts to arise. To cut it.
Et donc moi je disais que la colère n'existe pas et Osel a dit que les résultats existent.
La dernière chose, la colère n'existe pas.
Oui.
Et
Osel m'a dit que les résultats, il y a des résultats
Osel said that anger does exist.
No, I said that. She said it doesn't exist, and I said, but the result is very clear. Sorry. Okay. Oh, you want?
Générer peut-être encore plus de compassion.
Essayer de générer encore plus de compassion.
Comme ça, les colères, ça ne vient pas.
Si on génère de la compassion, de toute façon, nous avons nos propres perturbations, mais la personne que nous allons avoir en face, elle a également ses perturbations. Et donc, en générant quand même de la compassion, justement parce qu'il y a de la souffrance, automatiquement, je pense que la souffrance, on peut la diminuer. Mais c'est vrai aussi que, dans certains textes, on dit que la colère, en fait, tant qu'elle est spontanée, elle jaillit spontanément, tant qu'on met pas...
Jaillit.
Donc, c'est très difficile, effectivement, de la contenir. Et il faut, je pense aussi, comme a dit la FEMA, il faut essayer d'observer cette colère et peut-être d'essayer de mettre un espace, effectivement, comme dit Yeshir, en comptant le 3, 4, 5.
Ok. Huh? Who is angry? It's inside, waiting to come out. And when it comes out, it becomes very strong. And it becomes a boss. And we welcome it and give it some tea. Yeah. So,
I have
something to say.
What?
If you can remember how ugly one's face gets when you get angry.
Remember how ugly our face gets when we get angry. I like that. Now I understand. Okay, sorry. But sometimes when you're angry, you don't really have that opportunity. You become blind.
Something is anger.
We need a runner for the microphone. Somebody young, somebody.
Why young?
But we are all ancient. How can we be young?
Just to
thank you.
Remember that the anger is nothing with matter. It's just the mind. So if we can it's not like something we need to take out from our body, like something like matter, or wind, or something. It's just the mind. So if at that moment we just think of something else, we transform it. Just to be aware at that very moment.
Divert our attention.
Divert attention, and that's it. And anger can stop.
Very good idea. I like this. It's becoming more active now. Slowly. Very nice. Yeah, everybody knows, right?
I think one of the things that helps me is to think about the negative consequences of anger. The feelings that we have, there's nothing good comes from anger.
Exactly. Well, sometimes if it's compassionate anger, maybe. But yeah, we're talking about the real bad
I don't have compassion anger. But also to think of the harm we do to ourselves through anger, and also, of course, to other people.
Yeah, the result is always going to be more suffering, more problems, more everything. Negative.
Who wants to listen to somebody being angry?
Not even ourselves, right? And Venerable Chantal?
I think, I don't know if I can do it, but when I feel like negative towards people, I think I should think that this person has already enough suffering and problems. You know?
Empathy.
They have enough. I should not add to it.
Yeah. But especially to ourselves also. We have to have the empathy to ourselves, the kindness to ourselves, self-compassion, remember? Yeah. Okay. I want to make another question. Okay, so this is maybe a little bit tricky, but I think it's a very, what do you call it, appropriate question, I think. Can somebody answer why monks have to sit in front of nuns? And I think the monks should answer. Is there any particular reason? We're all human beings, we have the same potential for Buddha, right? So, can you give me a reason, please? It's a tricky question. I'll be careful, otherwise all the nuns will come after you. Oh, he's gonna take the risk.
Well, you know, this was also making a reflection about it, and also when I learned the protocol why Gelons or Geshes sit in front of us.
No, but we're not talking about this.
Yeah, no, okay. This is just because maybe at the very beginning, I think historically, you know, Shakyamuni, men came closer to him because of their interest, you know. And for men it was easier to be close to the Buddha because for women represented maybe a danger to go crossing the mountain or rivers. And you're supposed to give the chance people who are more interested in the first to be closer to the teacher who is giving the teaching. This doesn't mean that women don't have the same interest like us.
Maybe they're more shy.
No more shy is, I think it's
because
about...
at that time, very traditional kind of lifestyle, you know. Women, like if we look now in certain very traditional places, women are more like, you know, like what do you call that?
They're shy, but also they're very wise because they
reserved, exactly.
Reserved.
Reserved.
But also very wise.
Sorry, what?
Yeah, oppressed.
Oppressed. Yeah, but we don't want to see the negative.
But I think in
we're trying to get out the actual real reason.
I think Hindu women, they were very wise.
But they're oppressed. You're right. You're right.
I think Hindu women, they were very wise, and they said, okay, they are here before us, and they do have a very honest interest in the teaching, so let it be there in front, because they are arrived first, you know. First arrived, first served. This is what I think, you know, reflecting, because I have never found this answer in any book.
Please. I mean, we're not trying to get controversy, we're trying to understand the tradition, where it comes from.
Moi, je ne crois pas que ce soit les femmes qui étaient beaucoup plus sages que les hommes, qui ont dit on leur passe derrière les hommes. Pas du tout. Je ne pense pas que ce soit ça.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
Not that women are less wise than men. Sit behind.
Yeah, nobody's saying that.
C'était plus sage que les hommes et que bon, on les a dit non, on passe après les hommes. Je pense surtout que bon, au moment du Bouddha, de toute façon, le Bouddha a ordonné d'abord les hommes et après maintes requêtes, la tante donc même du Bouddha a pu être ordonnée donc par lui-même et je pense quand même que les femmes quand même passaient après.
I don't think it's because the women were more wise and wanted the men to go in front. I think it's because first the men were ordained, and then after many requests related to the end of the Buddha, the woman has been ordained. But I don't think it was a choice of the woman basically. It was just,
they're humble.
Je pense que c'est une sorte de
De toute façon, à l'époque du Bouddha, les femmes n'étaient pas du tout être amenées à étudier et tout ça. Je parle de l'époque du Bouddha.
Because maybe at that time, the time of the Buddha, in general, the women were not much allowed to access to education and so on, like in general.
Yeah, it's true.
Historically.
So, wouldn't you agree maybe we can make one side monks, one side nuns, instead of monks in front, nuns behind? Like just thinking this, huh? That's what you're doing, Kopan, that's very good. Anyways, I just wanted to have some kind of insight on that. Oh,
yes. I mean, I don't know if it's something it's difficult to talk about.
Yeah.
It's also in the Vinaya. Yeah? you know that in the Vinaya, it comes from the Vinaya.
And
there is one place in the Vinaya where it says, and I think for me it's a bit shocking, but you can understand it in history, but now it is in modern times. It says that, for example, you know there is a hierarchy, and for example, a monk always will sit in front, even if he's a Getsul, he will sit in front of a Gelongma, because even if the vows are higher, the base is lower. So,
but I'm sure we misunderstand that.
For me, that's the kind of heart of the...
No, but you know, this is the thing that it always has to be updated also. You know, the texts have to be updated.
Yeah, but it's not updated, you know. And so
yeah, but
some people are for update, but this kind of thing we don't talk about.
But you know, now there's Gelongma, now there's Geshe-ma. You know, so it's already being updated, thanks to His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Just like the fact that Shakyamuni said the world is flat, and now in the text it's written it's round. So these are actual updates, you know, which happen, which is very good. You know, I think it's a very good thing to update. So maybe this would be something to investigate, and maybe to to think about, and maybe not to take too seriously, because sometimes some things on like Vinaya stuff like that is based on the tradition at that time, the belief system, the culture. You know? So we are at a different era. It's 2,600 years later. You know, things change. People's mentality changes also. So we can't be so like extreme. You know, we can't be exactly following things just exactly metaphoric. I mean, exactly literally. We can't be too literal. We have to also be able to adapt to it based on how we relate to life. That's my belief. But thank you for pointing that out. Okay. Okay, more questions. So, where do the negative imprints come from if our nature is empathic and pure? Where do the negative imprints come from if our nature is empathic and pure?
So big.
Should I rephrase? Should I rephrase?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so if we are born pure, we have the natural empathy in us, where does this negative imprints, where do they come from? From the parents?
Ignorance.
Ignorance.
Not seeing. From not seeing. They come from not seeing that we are closer.
No,
it's
open.
Closer to the
mic. They come because we don't see them. We are from not seeing this pure reality.
Yeah.
I think there is four levels, 4 steps. Is first the power of analyzing, that you see something and it's just something. Then,
analytical meditation.
Then you give a name. This is a wall.
Okay.
And then you believe this is a wall. And from that belief comes the ignorance. That you think is true. That's the complete ignorance. But then just that belief makes it, you create samsara. So even though your nature is completely pure, but through that belief you make the concrete part.
Okay. Okay, this one may be a little bit tough, I don't know. Give me 5 definitions for emptiness.
Est-ce qu'on parle des 5 vacuités ou de 5...
Oh, there's 5 emptiness also? Huh? 16 emptiness. Oh, so 5 should be easy then. You just give me 5 definitions for this.
The lack of inherent existence.
The lack
of inherent existence.
Wait. Lack of ignorant existence.
Inherent.
Inherent.
Inherent existence.
Inherent. What does inherent mean?
Que no existe por
It means that it exists naturally without depending on something else, like within the
From its own side.
Yes, from its own side.
Okay. All right.
The very nature of
lack of inherent existence. All right. More definitions. One more.
Then I wanted to say the lack of existing from its own side.
But that's the same.
Yes.
Okay. So another one. We only did one yet.
I cannot use synonymous now.
No. Anyone else? Oh! Please.
The ultimate reality of things.
Wait. What? Can you say?
Interdependence?
Sorry?
Dependent arising?
Dependent arising. What does that mean? Dependent arising. Dependent arising.
Meaning things arise on dependence of other things, on causes and conditions?
Or interdependence.
Interdependence?
Interdependence. Very good, very good. Okay. I think Juan El Mago wanted to say something, even though he's not a monk, but he was. He was. Ah, okay.
I think it's as things really are.
What?
As everything is the reality of everything.
The reality of everything.
The ultimate reality.
The ultimate reality of everything. What does that exactly mean? If you tell them someone who doesn't know Dharma, they'll be like, they'll think you're crazy.
I can use some words to approach, but finally it seems that the last definition is the silence. But expressing some blah blah seems like that.
So the ultimate. So what do you say? The ultimate reality of existence?
Of things. Of things.
Of things.
Yes. Things as what is as things they are.
Huh?
The reality of things.
The reality of things. Okay.
The ultimate reality of things.
Ultimate reality.
But this is not separate from conventional reality, so it's a lot of blah blah blah.
Yeah. Okay. What else? 2 more to go. Okay, it's okay.
I remember one sentence of Nagarjuna saying, et j'appelle vacuité tout ce qui est production dépendante, ceci n'est donc qu'une désignation et c'est cela même que la voie du milieu. And I call emptiness what is interdependence arising. This is only a designation, and this is what is, and this is middle path, middle way.
Okay. We still have 2 more to go.
From the Heart Sutra, form is empty, emptiness is form.
Form is empty. Emptiness is form. Very good. Very easy, huh? Yes.
I would say emptiness is what the mind realizes when it finally penetrates the illusion of the senses.
Can you bring the microphone a little bit closer?
I would say emptiness is what the mind finally penetrated the illusion of our senses. Our senses are providing false information.
Wow.
The mind
Very
sees
nice.
through it. And that's ultimately
Very nice. So what the mind, can you repeat?
Emptiness is what the mind penetrates.
What the mind penetrates.
When it sees through the illusions of our senses.
When it seeks or finds?
I have to say, it can't find, it sees through it.
It sees.
It recognizes.
I thought you said seek.
Okay. Right, it recognizes the illusion that the senses represent.
Okay. We still have one more to go.
Merely labeled?
Merely labeled. Merely labeled.
How things
The
exist.
thing that isn't there,
Hmm?
which you always
That's how things exist. Nature. How things exist.
What?
It's empty. The things exist as empty. That's how things exist. Emptiness is how things exist.
Things exist.
Emptiness is how things exist. They exist as empty.
But then my head on the wall is not so empty.
Can you repeat? Because some people miss out.
In the mind,
That's how things exist.
how things exist.
Yeah. How things exist.
How things exist is because they're empty.
Yes.
But what does that mean?
They are empty of this inherent existence which is superimposed. Like.
So you're saying we can walk through walls?
Someone can.
Someone can?
Sure.
Sure?
Sure.
So we can fly like Superman?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Ah.
Well,
It must be fun. Now I understand what everybody's doing. Makes more sense now. Thank you. So, yes.
Yeah, to me, this, what you said, what you just said means the
Functionality of things, the possibility of things to be able to function. That's what I...
Functionality. Yeah. So, basically, for it to exist, it has to exist as in an empty form.
Yes.
Like there has to be empty space for something to actually exist in that empty space. Or what?
They have to, the things have to be empty of inherent existence, of existing from its own side. They have to exist as dependent, so they depend on the causes and conditions or the mind like doing.
So there is something that exists.
Of course.
So it's not empty.
It's empty of inherent existence. But it doesn't mean
so are you saying that there is something there?
Yes.
Yeah? What?
Dependent horizon.
So there has to be something there in order for us to see and appreciate it.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, the body base.
So then why do you say it's empty from its own side?
It's empty of our projection of things existing from its own side. They appear to exist from its own side, and they are, in their nature, they're empty of the appearance of it appears to be.
It appears to be empty from its own side?
No, it appears to be existing inherently. It appears to exist inherently, as inherent existence. However, this is the superimposition of our ignorance. Things do not exist that way.
So would you agree there's something there for us to be able to appreciate it?
Of course.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. Can you please define Buddhism in a non-conventional way? Can you define Buddhism in a non-conventional way?
Philosophy of happiness.
Philosophy of happiness. Very nice. That was easy, huh? For happiness or of happiness?
Of happiness.
Of happiness.
For happiness.
For or of?
I said of, you said for.
So then?
Both are good.
What do you want?
I want of.
What else? How else would you define Buddhism in a non-conventional way? Ah, Mitchell. Michael, no, what's your name? Michael? Mitchell.
Or searching for reality.
Searching for reality.
Searching how things exist. Trying to understand how things exist. What are the cause, what produce results.
Okay. And one more?
A science of mind or consciousness.
Sorry?
A science of mind or consciousness.
Science of mind. That's the Nalanda, huh?
Because that's what we're doing at the end. We're examining the mind and trying to see and understand how it functions.
Yeah. Amazing, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so what is meditation and how to meditate? Come on. Is it boring? Is this boring or not? You sure? Because it seems like it's being really boring.
No.
Okay, then come on, get more excited. We need some more. I thought you'd be excited about meditation. Okay.
To familiariser son esprit, entraîner son esprit dans des valeurs positives.
Yeah. But actually the questions are for the monks and nuns. By the way, I know you came late, so I'm just letting you know, okay?
Yeah, I would have said the same thing, to familiarize our mind with the positive state of mind and to try to pacify the negative one.
Okay. To
train the mind.
Train the mind.
To familiarize the mind with positive.
What?
Familiarize.
Familiarize, okay.
The mind with positive states.
Positive states.
And then to pacify the negative one.
Pacify the negative one. So that would be the meditation for you, basically.
Yes.
So that's something you can do every day, all the time.
Yes.
You don't have to sit down, cross-legged to meditate.
I mean, if you are well trained, it's okay.
Well trained?
Yeah, maybe.
You don't think it's an opportunity always to meditate?
Yes, but if you are not enough familiarized, it might be difficult at the beginning sometimes. If you have too much wrong habits,
okay.
It depends for whom, maybe.
Okay, good. Thank you. Two more. Okay, great. I like this. Good.
May I ask you a question?
Yeah, of course.
I'm sorry to say, but I'm really disturbed by this way here. Because in the beginning, you 2 or 3 times you said it's only for monks, then you added the nuns. But
No, I said monks and nuns.
Still excluding the lay people. So
No, I didn't.
Excluding
lay people? No, I'm not excluding anyone. I'm just trying to help the monks to be more communicative. I'm not excluding. If that's your point of view, I'm sorry for that. I'm not trying to exclude, I'm just trying to maybe help the monks and nuns participate a little bit more. And also, as monks and nuns, I think we have a responsibility, to actually try to understand better and try to express ourselves better, because the lay people normally have conventional jobs and they are more in samsara. More in everyday life, it's more difficult to maybe practice Dharma, and monks and nuns have the opportunity 24/7 to practice Dharma. So it's good to share what we are experiencing, so that the lay people can be inspired. Is that answering your question? Yeah. And I'm sorry if I excluded the nuns, and I said monks and nuns. Maybe I missed one part. I don't know. Very sorry for that misunderstanding. And my intention is not at all to exclude, absolutely not. Just to clarify. Very sorry for this misunderstanding. You wanted to say something?
Yeah, I was thinking maybe you can think of meditation as going to the gym, like a mental gym. Nowadays, people go to the physical gym to train the body to be beautiful. Think about mental training.
Train the mind.
Yeah.
Mind training. That's good.
It's a mental gym to be beautiful inside.
To control the mind a little bit more. Okay. That's good. Thank you. Okay, I'm just going to make one more question actually. Or maybe two more. What is the first practical step to start the path to enlightenment?
Realizing that we are ill.
Yes. Aversion to suffering? Okay, I can just repeat. Aversion to suffering? Okay.
actually, but for me the most important thing is to set a motivation. That whatever action we do, try to infuse it with love for others and concern for others, especially if we do things relating to others.
Cultiver le non-attachement.
Sorry? Oh, pardon?
Cultiver le non-attachement.
To cultivate the non-attachment. No, it's more for the notes, you know, so that we can have the history of this discussion. I think can be very helpful. Can give insight.
Développer la compassion.
To develop the compassion. Okay. Very good.
Disillusionment.
Disillusionment.
Yeah, with ordinary existence.
Of ordinary existence. All right. Last question. Give me 5 reasons for being a nun or a monk.
It's the most meaningful way of life.
Most meaningful way of life. Well, I wouldn't agree with that, but okay.
We have afflictions.
We have afflictions, okay. We have afflictions.
Because I would like one day to be able to help all the suffering of the people.
Yeah.
I know that.
Very good. And the more that's 3 reasons. Freedom? Sorry, what?
More freedom.
More freedom. Freedom of what?
Freedom from certain obligations, responsibility.
Freedom of responsibility. That's a little bit lazy.
A bit lazy. Certain responsibilities can really tie up the mind to a certain extent that it's difficult to engage more in it.
Yeah. So you can have a fresh mind, right?
Kind of a fresh mind, but fresh mind because it's up to the time.
Yeah. To have more time.
Engage in their family and their work. They have a freedom to engage.
Yes.
Love is gross.
Love is
gross.
Gross. Why do you say that? No, you're just joking, right?
No, because when you are involved in, in situations normal people, and you go to a very gross level of mind, somehow like attachment is bigger. If you have no control, it goes bigger and bigger.
But you know, it's very good practice actually. It's a big challenge.
Yeah, of course.
Then my feeling is if you can control it, then you can go for it. But if you have no control, it goes like when we can see in the world how it is.
Yeah.
So many wars and
of course, out of ignorance.
conflicts because of that.
But could you tell me what is more difficult, to be a monk or to be a parent?
More difficult is to be a parent. Definitely.
So it's more of a challenge.
Very courageous. Honestly, it's very courageous.
Because you know, I mean, love is the beginning of life. You know, everything starts with love, and everything is love, right?
Yeah.
Somehow. I mean, love is, it's everything.
Yeah, love is everything.
I mean, we have many names for love.
Yeah. But for me, for instance, I said before, I was a sacred bandit. And now
You're what?
Sacred bandit.
You're a bandit?
Yeah, I was a bandit with my attachment delusions.
Oh, okay.
and now I'm a bandit, sacred. I'm a monk that is trying to decrease this process and to be able to cherish others.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you have enough reasons? Or?
Les enseignements du Bouddha m'ont permis d'alléger effectivement ma propre souffrance et ça m'a permis effectivement, j'ai une foi totale dans les enseignements du Bouddha et cette foi et finalement ce qui m'a permis d'alléger ma souffrance, j'ai envie de le redonner aussi aux autres. Et donc c'est d'aider les autres, donc en essayant de leur apporter un moyen, un outil pour alléger leur propre souffrance.
So
thanks to her faith in the Dharma, she could decrease her own suffering, her own problem, and then she would like to help others to pacify their suffering and problems. So that's a way to be able to do.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And especially thank you for the question, because I think it really cleared maybe some misunderstanding. Maybe other people had the thought, but they didn't really have, the actual, we would say balls. But that's so like brave. No, absolutely not. I really appreciate it so much, and because it's important sometimes to speak so that we can clear out any misunderstanding. Okay. Sorry for the terminology. I'm not sorry for that. Okay, I'm just trying to use some slang to break the ice. So I don't know. Maybe you want to make questions? I'll try to answer the best way I can with my super ignorant mind.
What kind of outlook do you have on monks?
What
kind of outlook do you have on monks? What do you think of us, or what do you hear about Nalanda? What do you think about Nalanda? What do you think about monastics?
Okay, what do I think about monastics? Very good question. Okay. When we say Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, we take refuge in the Buddha and the Dharma and the Sangha. I believe the Sangha is the representation of the people who have dedicated their life to the practice of Dharma. So without those people, it's very difficult to be inspired. Very difficult to be inspired, because how can we believe something if we don't have the example? Maybe today the monks don't follow exactly the actual vows completely, 100%. But also it's a new modern time, so maybe the vows have been adapted a little bit more to the modern times. In the time of Buddha, the vows were very specific, and not necessarily do all the monks follow those vows. But still, I think maybe it's a very huge inspiration for many people. And without this inspiration, it's very difficult to actually have the desire and motivation to really achieve something, because it seems so far away. So when you have the example, it really inspires you, and you're like, okay, maybe there are people who are dedicating their whole entire life to really practice the Dharma 24/7. So maybe, if they can do it, then maybe I can do 1%. So that already creates this kind of semshu, we say together. How would you translate that? Courage, yeah? The desire, to actually practice the Dharma and to really be more dedicated, in that way. I think that's one of the very important keys of being a monk or a nun, or nun and monk, sorry. I want to say nun first, then I'm going to say monk. Just to change it a little bit, because somehow I have the habit of saying monk and nun, and I just realized, so thank you for pointing that out to me. So I'm going to try to change a little bit the habit. So I'm going to say nun and monks, nuns and monks. So I think it's a great opportunity to actually be able to kind of really give up many of the samsaric pleasures, because one of the Gelong, I'm not sure for the Gelong monk because I haven't studied the vows, but for the Gelong monk, one of the vows is you cannot even ejaculate in the dreams. I don't know if you're aware of this, but that is part of the vows. So if you ejaculate in a dream, what we call wet dream, then you're actually breaking one of your vows. Do you know this, right? Yeah. So because how do you ejaculate in a dream is by doing a certain action in the dream. So already in such a subtle form, already you have to really guard the vows. So it's a very strong dedication And I wouldn't call it sacrifice, but I would call it maybe a big challenge. Because sometimes you have to fight against nature in a way. How nature created us. Because man, in a way, was created to spread the seed, for reproduction, for the survival of the race. So in a way, we're almost fighting against the nature of how we were created. So it's not an easy thing to be monk. It's very difficult. Nun, I'm sorry. But I can speak for myself, I'm not sure the challenges of being a nun, I don't really know very well, but I know what the challenges of being a monk is. So maybe Lama Yesa's past life, he was a nun. No, I don't know, that's what we say. Lama Yesa's past life, he was a nun, which is really nice to hear. I really like that. And maybe next life I want to be a nun. But this life at least, I was a monk for a short period of time, and then while at that time, I had my difficulties. I never took the ordination of Gelong, so I didn't have the same responsibility as many of you Gelongs are here. But I can understand and I can relate to it. And not only is it a big challenge, but it's an opportunity to really subdue our attachment, which really sometimes comes very strong. So it's a very strong practice that we have to maintain every day. And I think really the motivation behind it is to really, like I said, to be an example, but also an example to yourself, so that you can also feel that you're actually accomplishing something very important in life. It's not about, how would you say, getting frustrated or negative or depressed because you're forcing yourself to do something maybe you don't want to. No, you have to have the genuine wish, the actual wish, the desire from very deep down inside of you, because you have this concept of ngejung, right? Which we said already. What definition of ngejung? Renunciation, all pervasive suffering. Is that correct? Yeah. Sorry, wishful aversion, right? That's ngejung. So the recognition, how the recognition of this, the reality of samsara, kind of ngejung kya, so when you're like, wow, it's like we are stuck in this cycle of this attachment which doesn't allow us to really be able to be liberated from this. So from this inner, very deep desire comes that motivation, and that motivation is what really keeps us in the path. It's not about forcing ourselves or getting frustrated or angry or like that. No, it's actually having that desire. Just like, for example, you would have the desire to learn how to read in order to be able to understand what's in a book, or the desire to know how to cook so that you can actually cook for other people a delicious meal, or the desire to be able to know what love is so that you can express that in a very pure manner, or the actual genuine desire to achieve something, That is really the purpose of a monk, or a nun, or a monk. Sorry. Personally, I think that's so it's not something that you should force yourself. If you're forcing yourself to do something, then you have to really question, do I really have the ngejung? And if I don't have the ngejung, what is the purpose of becoming a nun or a monk? Because I think that's the first step of actually taking ordination, is by giving up this cycle that you recognize very clearly is not really benefiting you or anyone else around you. Unless you recognize, you learn from the mistakes, and you move on, which is evolving, moving forward. So then, that way, then there's a huge benefit by being a nun or a monk. Huge benefit, because why? It's not just by being an inspiration, but you become an inspiration for yourself. Because you can look at yourself, who you were yesterday, and you can see yourself today, and you can see the difference, the improvement. And then you can really keep going. And you know where you're going because you have the information, you have the practice, you do the meditation, and not only, you're in a monastery or a nunnery where you're surrounded by people who are in the same situation too, in the same boat. So everybody's sharing the same kind of difficulties, the same kind of maybe desires or problems or doubts, so we can actually share that and have some empathy and support each other in that direction. So that's why it's very good also to live together as a community. I think maybe. So, any more questions? Please.
Can you wait?
Wait.
I saw a wonderful video of DVD made by Lama Yeshe on community, and I wanted to ask you, what do you think are the most important elements in creating a cohesive and inclusive community?
What are the qualities?
The most important elements. In creating a cohesive and inclusive community.
I think first step would be gratitude. So that we're more humble, we're more patient, we're more compassionate, we're more kind. All this comes from gratitude. The more grateful, the more humble we are. The more humble and more compassionate and more kind and more patient, the more empathic we are. The more empathic we are, the more we try to understand other people instead of imposing our own point of view, which may be wrong. So we're open to criticism, we're open to recognizing our own mistakes, and that's the first step for a healthy relationship in a community. So I think gratitude is a very important factor. Any more questions?
Osel, thank you very, very much for this opportunity. As a person, I really appreciate it, and not discriminating.
Sorry, what?
I don't feel discriminated, so thank you very much. I learned a lot. Now, let me ask you, how can, within the next 20 or 25 years, following Tender's question, how can one create a vision of having monks being more interactive with the lay community, and particularly with those who are not either interested or just do not know anything about Dharma, but can definitely benefit from it?
Can you repeat that in a more simple
way? One of the questions was, how do you take Dharma to people who do not know Dharma? How can you talk about Dharma to non-Dharma, let's say, knowing people? So my question is, within the next, 10, 20 years, how can we see monks interacting more with the community and without imposing the word Dharma or the red rose, really helping the community to create the cohesive kind of sangha that we would love to have?
So I think maybe when the monks learn to fly, and then maybe people will be like, oh, I want to do that too. Wouldn't you agree? That'd be nice. Like Milarepa. Like oh, I want to be a monk. Mommy, I want to be a monk. I want to fly too.
You see, they fly. They fly. They actually do.
Who?
Milarepa.
Yeah, Milarepa. But Milarepa wasn't a monk. Was he a monk? No. So I think it's the first step would be to be able to know what creates interest, what sparks interest in the young people or the people who don't have interest in Dharma. So what do they relate to? So you would have to do some research, first of all. As an honorary monk, you'd have to do some research. And then you would have to understand, once you know how they relate, and once you understand what they're interested in, then you have to adapt to that. You can't expect people who don't understand Dharma to adapt to you. So you can't expect people who don't have much interest in religion or Dharma to actually come to talks or meditation courses or pick up a Dharma book. You can't expect that. Most of the people are non-religious on this planet today. And many people have an aversion to religion. So how do you reach those people? That's a very good question, So, for example, entertainment business. For example, today we have a lot of distractions in entertainment. So in a way we can maybe plant a seed and create an imprint so that maybe later on they will question themselves. You know, for example, a movie or music with certain words that actually make you feel certain feelings, you know, like that. I think it's a good idea. But as a nun and a monk, to do that is very, very complicated, you know, because certain vows, like you can't do music, you know, you have to really maintain the vows. So for a nun and a monk, maybe it would be more difficult to relate to the person unless they actually have a genuine interest in understanding what they represent. So it's a tricky question, but I think maybe in the future, slowly, people are going to be more and more attracted to what nuns and monks represent. You know, they'll be more interested because there's a lot of conflict, there's a lot of ignorance, there's a lot of suffering today in the world. So people are actually searching for alternatives, they're searching for an answer, they're searching something to understand better the reality of, the reality of their life and their, you know, to be able to relate to everyday life, where people are not empathic, where people are judgmental, where people are really mean, and some people actually enjoy making other people suffer. So how do you relate that? Because when you have that situation, you feel, okay, God is unjust, life is unjust. You know, so when you try to understand that, if you have a good explanation that makes sense, then people can start to relate to that. You know, and the way to do that is to speak in a universal language. For example, like a smile, a hug. You know, that is universal. Everywhere you go in the world, like the mother starts with the sound ma, right? Most of the cultures, ma represents mother somehow. I don't know why, I don't know how, but it's like that. You know, most of the languages. So you have to find also these kind of like these aspects of life where people can relate to that, and from there you kind of slowly introduce them to the actual Dharma teachings. But like Venerable said, he said the example is the best way to teach, so actions speak more than words. Any more questions? Oh.
I just have something to add.
Okay.
There's two monks that I think specially.
Oh, there's two monks now, the ordained people, that I think they are a good example. It's Dzongsa Khyentse Rinpoche.
Yeah.
That he talks about very actual, modern questions like relationships. He puts the Buddhist point of view in very actual issues, the political system and culture and these things, and he finds a way with his own sense of humor and critics and Buddhism approach. And there is this very nice book, it's called What Makes You Not a Buddhist, particular, very good book. He attracted, I think, many people who maybe don't have interest because of his personality, his skills, his communication skills, and his knowledge of the issues of the reality of the modern society. And also the Pema Chodok.
Pema Chodok?
Is it her? The Western English nun?
Snow in the cave?
Yes. The one
Cave in the snow?
No.
Oh, who's a cave in the snow? Oh, Tenzin. So Pema Chodok and Tenzin. Maybe it's Tenzin Palmo? Or Pema Chodok?
Pema Chodok, she's speaking always about love. And she
Yeah.
does very nice videos on YouTube where she does interview and she talks about also in a very humorous way. So I think humor is a very, very nice way.
Thank you so much, India. Thank you. Very inspiring. Okay, more questions, please. I want criticisms. Please criticize me. Yes.
I'm not going to do that.
No, why not? I like it.
No, but I'm curious about you. And yesterday you said that Tibetan was still your first language.
What?
Tibetan is you consider it as your first language, means you do dream and practice in Tibetan?
Practice, but I don't do any practice. Yeah, but I think in Tibetan often.
You think in Tibetan. Dream also?
No.
And so about Tibetan and your Tibetan knowledge, do you still go to texts such as Lamrim of Jetson Kappa, or do you still read texts in Tibetan or the philosophical text?
No, I've never picked up a Dharma book. my life. I mean, maybe I skimmed a little bit through it, but a little bit maybe, not really. But I want to. I would like to be able to read more Buddhist Dharma books. It would be very special to be able to read more and more every time. Because they're very, very useful in everyday life, And also, I feel somehow responsible, to also have a deeper understanding about Dharma, so that they can also, clarify, create more harmony, and maybe not misguide or misinterpret things, So for me, I feel responsible, and I definitely want to dedicate more time and energy in doing this. So thank you for that.
Vous dites que vous ne lisez pas de livre du Dharma ou quoi, mais d'où viennent toutes les questions que vous nous avez posées?
You were saying that you don't read Dharma book, but then when all these questions you ask us, where do they come from?
I don't know. I just remember some things from my childhood.
Wikipedia.
Wikipedia, yeah. Okay, please, more criticism. I like criticism.
How do you look back on your time now in Sarah?
Sorry. By the way, I just want to again talk about your question before. I think it's very helpful. You're an example of fearlessness, really, because you speak your mind, and you are very, what do you call it? Wouldn't be impulse, it would be spontaneous, and I think that's a very good quality which many people should follow. So you're a great example, and I really admire you. Thank you so much, because many people don't have that fearlessness because they're too self-aware of other people's thoughts or judgment, so they don't speak up. So thank you for being that humble, and thank you for helping me clarify. Okay, so really thank you very much. I really admire you, so thank you. Okay, this one.
I'm usually the troublemaker here.
Good! Good! Admire her, and please thank her. Very important. Okay.
Thank you, Dharma. How did you look back on your time in Sarah now? Was it through joy, sadness, anger, a whole mixture of it?
It's potpourri. You call it potpourri? Potpourri. Potpourri? Yeah. Is that French?
Potpourri.
Potpourri. Potpourri.
Usually quite smelly.
So what is your question exactly?
What kind of emotions do you have when you look back on
what kind of memories?
Memories, emotions that go through. Is it still coming up? Anger or bitterness or sadness?
I think mostly what comes up is gratitude. Mostly. I think almost everything is gratitude, actually. Gratitude, happiness, and more gratitude.
Do you too?
What?
Do you too? Gratitude due to what?
Gratitude to the kindness of my teacher, Kinsur Gishigin, who passed away this August. He's amazing, amazing, amazing. Very compassionate. He is really the embodiment, of everything that we stand for. I just don't have any words for you. Thank you. No drama. He was the embodiment of dedication, patience, compassion, pure love, all the time, every day. You have no idea. For me, he was like my father, like my mother. So I just have another gratitude, to have been able to spend my childhood with him, mostly. Basically, yeah. Sorry. Any more questions? Sorry? Gindin Kinsul Kishe Gindin Chimbel. I used to call him Genla. So, more questions, please.
Yeah. That was something. There was an issue for me in my life. It was about smoking marijuana, and it's still actually I'm quite sorry for myself, but I've always been quite disturbed that you were kind of promoting marijuana on Facebook.
No, impossible. No, I was promoting hemp.
What is
hemp? Inform yourself before you judge. Before you condemn and judge. But thank you for the question though. So I can clarify. Hemp, cáñamo, it's an actual plant without the psychedelic effect. Because the plant has many beneficial qualities. Originally the reason why marijuana was actually made illegal was because it actually it threatened the cotton industry.
Yeah.
Basically, so they decided the hemp, not marijuana, the hemp threatened the cotton industry. So they came up with this name and made it seem like it's something very bad and very harmful. But the hemp, which is the actual plant, has so many qualities, not only in cloth making, but in the oils, the seeds, and there's so many. If you actually do some research, then you'll see the actual benefit of hemp. It's very easy to plant. It's not so difficult to harvest. As a material for everyday life. You can use it as a food, as a source for oil, as a source of cloth, for rope. Very, very like ropes. Yeah, clothes like hemp clothes last for a whole lifetime actually. So basically, it was so much easier to plant, to harvest hemp. And the time span for the harvest was very short. So hemp was a big threat to the cotton industry, which was monopolized, mostly used through slavery. They transported over 20. Throughout the history of humanity, people have smoked like marijuana. But that is not actually, that's just one small aspect of hemp, which we kind of really criticize because we are brainwashed a little bit by the system and society, which kind of educates us to be a little bit like sheep and donkeys. I'm not insulting, but I'm just saying that I'm being realistic. They teach us how to work, they don't teach us how to live. They teach us not to question the authority. They teach us to be afraid of making mistakes. So all of these aspects actually create us to think, what the government says is right. But the government, they actually talk about wars being good. Why is a hero in a war actually someone who kills people? What kind of hero is that? I'm sorry. No war has a right. Even though you can't defend peace by fighting a war. It doesn't make sense. If people actually had a certain kind of empathy and actual desire to benefit people and to actually achieve certain actual productivity, good result, then there would be no wars. But the only reason for wars to exist is because of business. Every bullet that is shot in any war is someone is making money. Every bomb that's thrown. In Vietnam, they threw more bombs than in the First and Second World War combined by all the forces together. In Vietnam, and they were throwing it, on villages? So I'm not trying to criticize anyone, I'm just putting an example that what governments preach is not necessarily the right thing. So we have to do our own research to really understand the facts before we judge or come to any conclusions. So I'm sorry for having created any misunderstanding. I do not promote marijuana as a psychedelic, which may help some people, maybe especially like people who have difficulties, physical difficulties, or mental issues. It may help them. I don't know. It depends on the individual. Each person is different. Okay. But what I do promote is a hemp, which I think could be a great way of actually maybe promoting an alternative kind of usage for things that we have kind of like judged about in the past, based on this kind of business mentality. So we discriminate something based on what they've told us. So thank you for asking that so I can clarify. Thank you. Any more questions or criticism, please?
It's working. One of the things that worries me when I hear Buddhist teachings is it's not so much the way that what the so-called afflictive emotions are talked about, but the way they're interpreted. For example, you were talking about anger before.
About what?
Anger.
Anger, yes.
And what I found myself thinking is anger is in a way, it's the sort of apparent manifestation. Because behind anger, there's lots of other things. There's pain and suffering. It's just, if somebody hurts me, then it's easier for me to get angry than to show my pain. And I don't know whether that's addressed sufficiently. And I think also what happens in the West is we read about all these afflictive emotions, and they do afflict us, and we feel that they're wrong, and then and some people are trying to suppress them, and that causes more problems. So it's not quite a criticism, but I'm just something that concerns me.
Okay. So, so in Tibetan we say Pagla Shaba. Pagla Shaba, like when you have anger, Pagla Shaba means it's hidden. It's not obvious until it comes out. And it comes out with an external agent. Something that pokes it. So then it comes out. So basically, it's an emotion that is not welcome. It's not welcome, but we welcome it. And we let it take over. We let it take control, basically. We permit an uninvited guest to take over all our actions and our thoughts and our speech, completely, depending on the intensity of this emotion. So it's not so much about saying like, anger is bad, this is suppressed, blah, blah, blah. It's more about seeing the reality of this, observing it, before and after, and while it's happening. Even though while it's happening it may be very difficult. Why? Because we become very ignorant, based on the ego, on the pride, that we are right, and we have the right to be angry, because somehow we feel unjustly treated. So then that gives us the right to impose our reality. Right? So instead of trying to impose our reality through emotions which we feel are going to actually have a kind of maybe effect that, basically we're encouraging the wrong viewpoint of I. We're supporting an I that doesn't exist. Right? That's why we defend it, and that's why we get angry. So basically, we have to really analyze and actually do practice every day, meditation, in order so that when these emotions actually come, we're actually able to really catch them before they take over, to recognize them. And then, also, I think it's very important to maybe do good exercise, because sometimes maybe our body somehow needs the exercise. Maybe we're not doing enough exercise, so then somehow the body is trying to find a way to release this energy, a way to release certain frustrations maybe, a way to release certain conflicts, internal conflicts which we may have difficulty in expressing. So sometimes it's good to do exercise daily, so we can have more relaxed physically, so the anger, when it doesn't come up so strong. If we're more relaxed, then maybe physically the anger is not being imposed by the body, so that we have a certain exercise effect, like spend energy or whatever it is. So you have to also observe all the aspects and balance it out, and then maybe for different people different things work. But mainly, like Venerable said, I think it's important to see the result of anger is mostly more suffering and more problems and more conflict. So it's not really a means for any solution. So when you actually see the reality of that, then you can actually maybe start to, keep the anger in reins, control the anger a little bit better. But and also, I'm sure you can use anger as a way of practice, to practice. So you can use anger as an ally. So when it comes out, it helps you to observe yourself and to check where is it coming from. So in that way, you can advance in your practice. So not only just trying to subdue it, but actually using it as a tool to observe where is it coming from, to actually pinpoint the ego and to see that it doesn't exist from its own side. Like that we actually created to defend this wrong viewpoint of I. Does that answer the question?
I'm just thinking, because I work as a psychotherapist.
Oh, okay.
And often, one of the reasons, one of the problems that present itself is people come and they're not able to express their emotion. They're completely repressed or suppressed. So sometimes, when the anger comes, it sort of releases other things which are positive. So
they're positive, you say?
I'm not talking about the anger, but
what releases?
It
releases some kind of.
Because if you suppress the negative, it also suppresses the positive. So this is the dilemma. I'm not saying that they should express.
Are you saying sometimes when people get angry they release serotonin or something like that?
No.
So you get more relaxed afterwards, you mean? You vent out your frustrations and your anger.
It's not a question of acting it out. It's just a question of expressing, talking about it, for example.
Yeah.
And not to say, it's bad, but let's talk about it.
I agree. It's a way of understanding your own reality.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a tool.
And I think in a way.
But you have to be in control, obviously.
Sorry?
You have to be in control. You can't just let the anger take over and go crazy. You also have to
absolutely.
certain respect for yourself.
Yes, to look at it and to talk about it.
Yeah.
And I think often for me in Dharma teachings, that's not said sufficiently. It's just, anger is an emotion, which of course it is, it makes us suffer. But it also, it speaks as well, so to listen to what it says. So then we can hear other things that our feelings, our emotions, our body is telling us. Do I make sense?
Okay.
Am I making sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I think it's important to also, as a therapy, sometimes crying is good, sometimes maybe getting a little bit angry is good so that you can actually, but not too much. You also it has to be controlled and compassionate anger, where you actually have certain compassion for yourself too, while you're getting emotional a little bit.
I'm not talking about myself getting angry.
No, I'm talking about in general. We all get angry, we all relate to that, we understand. But of course, everybody's different. Each individual has different methods of practice. So. But thank you. Okay, any more questions? Okay, one more question. Or criticism, I prefer criticism. Please criticize me.
Can you give us some advice how to live a meaningful life, even if we are monks now, the people?
How to live a meaningful life?
Even more at that period where there are many conflicts, war everywhere.
I think when you wake up in the morning to have a more pure motivation, to really dedicate your time, space and energy, your body, speech and mind, to a better purpose of benefit, starting with yourself, so self-compassion, and trying to dispel the ignorance, the wrong conception of separation, and the understanding of interdependence, and analyzing how that we interpret existence through 5 senses, and through how we relate to that, and how it's just an interpretation of existence. And that actually the actual reality is completely different. So just that also helps us to kind of motivates us to want to practice more and to help other people to practice more. So with this kind of motivation in mind, I think it's very important to wake up with that motivation. When you go to sleep, to actually check and analyze what you would like to change, how you would like to improve, and to challenge yourself every day to be better than the person that you were yesterday. Okay?
S'il y avait une manière de changer la façon dont on enseigne le Dharma, qu'est-ce que vous changeriez dans cette manière?
So if you could change something in the way to teach Dharma, what would you change?
What would I change? About
the way to teach Dharma.
About the way to teach, I wouldn't change anything. Maybe I'll just add different things. But when I say add, I mean like add maybe new updates, like 5.0, 5.2, 5. Like that, so that it attracts and creates some kind of interest in people who don't have that capacity to really be attracted to like this kind of concept of religion or conventional, spirituality, whatever you want to call it, philosophy, etc., etc. So I think basically we have the foundation of tradition, which is really, really important and very, very precious, and we should never, actually try to, change that, because that comes from many, many generations of very realized beings who have reached a certain understanding, and they have shared this aspect and these qualities of our inner nature, so that we can benefit from that, and so that we have to take really seriously. We have to really cherish and really keep as pure as we can. But thanks to that, we can actually branch out into different ways of helping other sentient beings. So I think that is maybe a good way, to try to find new ways, new means to actually be able to benefit people. But I wouldn't change anything, I'll just maybe add things. Okay, thank you so very much, thank you. Oh, you what? No, please. One more? Okay, one more.
Thank you. Maybe on Venerable's question, maybe she was not really trying to say that Dharma should be changed, but the ways to get it out to people who are non-Dharma people, and I'm talking about modern things, as you were saying, things that relate to them. Why don't we put them in apps, for example?
Yeah.
Why don't we make movies? Why don't we
like the Matrix
interact? Yeah. I mean, in general terms.
What the flip do we know?
How can we try to make an organized and concerted effort to put this message outside? Because people definitely need it and they want it, only they do not know it is available because of it being just given out in the same way, generation after generation, eon after eon.
Yeah, I agree. Completely. Is that a question? No, okay. No, I agree completely, and I think it's based on brainstorming, on teamwork, on the desire to reach there, and yeah, I'm also working on it, so maybe that's why also somehow I left the monastery. It's one of the reasons why I actually decided to dive headfirst into samsara, into the quicksands of samsara, so a very risky business. So yeah, thank you so much everybody. Thank you for accepting me and for inviting me here. And I'm very sorry, I'm very ignorant and I'm not at all qualified to sit up here. So I'm very, very sorry for being here like this, but I try my best to maybe reach your expectations. And so thank you very much, and please keep up the good work and keep inspiring me like you do. And I really am completely humbled, and for me it's really a huge honor to be in your presence. Thank you so much. All of you are such beautiful people with such good motivation. And please, 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 please keep this up. Okay, don't go back. Please. Thank you so much. Thank you. you don't want to do a dedication? We're talking about tradition here, right? Please. The Umze, somebody please take the microphone.
We go to page 89. Janju senchu rinpoche mage panam ge yushi evanam pane payam kone pondu pevarasho toni dawa rinpoche mage panam ge yushi evanam pane payam kone pondu pevarasho karirave korveshi kande vedante vamaruchumene chevesi vante singyasoi shabesi devaduten yurushi doni nikje sundu juperam cheche sese kanchenten gögen chana pemoten singyasola Savade soshe du chum tu tu chan chi chan gen gelwe ten sing yon delwe gun se do porose cho sum guru vede kan tu ana so guru je gun tu shate Champel Babo Jitare Gepadan Kentu Sampo Deyam Deshinte Dedagun Jesu Dago Chirege Da Tamchera Tuimo Tesum Chete Gewadam Chegi Nova Ganda Chochu Napade Dagi Gewe Sawadi Gunyam Sago Chishira Tunyo Marehi
Thank you.